Good morning. Thank you. Pressure's growing on two Newcastle United football directors to resign amid continuing controversy over their alleged comments to a Sunday newspaper. Angry fans gathered outside the directors' box after last night's match to demand they be sacked.
The feeling among many Newcastle fans is clear. Around 1,000 staged a noisy demonstration below the directors' box at St James's Park last night, following the club's defeat at the hands of the Premiership's bottom side, Crystal Palace. Newcastle chairman Freddie Shepherd, seen here on the left, and vice chairman Douglas Hall stayed away. Their alleged comments that Geordie women were dogs has outraged fans. Both men say their comments have been misinterpreted. They have apologised, but most here don't think that's good enough. It seems only the resignation of both Mr Shepherd and Mr Hall will silence these Geordie fans. Will Walden, ITN.
All remaining outside toilets in schools are to be replaced, paid for out of budget money. The Education Secretary David Blunkett will today announce how the rest of the £200 million from the budget will be spent. His announcement coincides with the launch of a government drive to cut expulsions from schools. The South African President Nelson Mandela is appearing before the country's High Court today. Mr Mandela has been forced by the country's rugby officials to explain why he set up a judicial commission to investigate allegations of corruption in the sport. He said he resented having to appear. A British all-woman yacht crew has been forced to abandon an attempt to set a new continuous round-the-world speed sailing record. Skipper Tracy Edwards and her crew, seen here before they left, were forced to withdraw with serious mast damage. They're currently 2,000 miles from Cape Horn. In our lunchtime news, a special report on Britain's crumbling schools and what can be done about them, and we'll be going racing at Cheltenham, where it's Gold Cup Day. We start at 12:30. For the moment from ITN, goodbye.
Good morning. The update now from HTV. Two Royal Marines based in Taunton have been forced to abandon their attempt to become the first British team to walk unsupported from Canada to North Pole. Sergeant Sean Chappell and Corporal Alan Chambers began the expedition 2 weeks ago. They'd expected to cover the 500-mile journey in 80 days. The attempt was abandoned after batteries powering vital radio and navigation equipment failed. Meanwhile, Wiltshire explorer David Hempelman Adams is still continuing his attempt to reach the North Pole. Police in Wiltshire are appealing for witnesses to a fatal accident on the A361 near Devizes. It happened at around 10 to 9 last night at an area known as Fox Hangers. A 20-year-old local man died after his car careered off the road into a hedgerow. He's been named as Stuart Green. Police say he was trying to avoid oncoming vehicles. Scientists in Bristol are claiming that the length of a person's legs can help determine if they'll suffer heart problems or cancer. They say the evidence is linked to what we eat as children and how diet affects growth and health in later life.
Whether you're a towering 6-footer or a petite 4'11", your legs can say a lot about you, and it's no tall story. Scientists at Bristol University have discovered that people with shorter legs are more prone to heart attacks, while their more leggy friends have a higher risk of dying of cancer. Surprising news.
I'm shocked a little bit, but, you know, we all die eventually, don't we, so it doesn't really matter.
I'm not sure that I believe it's the length of my legs that's going to affect how exactly I'm going to die.
But it could be true. The evidence is linked to what we eat as children and how our diet affects our growth and health in later life.
Having long legs does not cause cancer, nor does having short legs cause coronary heart disease. They indicate areas which require further research so that we may be able to unpick those particular factors that are associated both with growth and with later disease risk.
But let's face it, there's not a lot we can do about the length of our legs. It's probably all down to our genes. Liz Spate, HTV News in Bristol.
Lord Plum, European MP for the Cotswolds, is to retire next year. He's a former president of the National Farmers Union and has been a European MP for almost 20 years. He'll be 73 later this month. Demolition has begun at the old Mecca Centre in Bristol. The entertainment complex has been pulled down to make way for student accommodation. Although the ice rink will stay, the centre was opened in 1966 and in its heyday was a focus for entertainment in the city, with a ballroom, snooker hall and cinema among the attractions. In football, Swindon were held to a goalless draw against Wolves at the county ground last night. Swindon came close to scoring on several occasions, but Wolves keeper Hans Seggers spoiled their efforts. A look now at the weather for the west. It'll be a dry morning with a mixture of patchy cloud and some sunshine in places. A high temperature of 6 degrees Celsius for the afternoon. It'll remain sunny with temperatures rising to 11 degrees Celsius. Well, that's it for the moment. I look forward to your company for our lunchtime news at 12:20. Do join me if you can. A very good morning. Bye-bye.